Mustard is one of those classic condiments that adds a bold, unmistakable flavor to all kinds of dishes. With its bright yellow color, it doesn't just make your food pop. It also brings back memories of summer afternoons at the ballpark or backyard cookouts with family and friends. You'll usually find it right next to hot dogs, burgers, sausages, or sandwiches. And yeah, just a little squirt of mustard can take the flavor to a whole new level. You probably see mustard bottles lined up neatly on grocery store shelves all the time, but have you ever stopped to wonder what mustard is actually made of or how it's produced on a big industrial scale? Today we're diving into the journey of mustard, from tiny seeds to the iconic condiment that's a staple in so many of our meals. Before any hot dog gets that signature zigzag of mustard, and before those bright yellow bottles hit the grocery store shelves, the journey of classic yellow mustard actually starts with tiny seeds, millions of them to be exact. Mustard plants are part of the Brassica family, the same crew as cabbage, broccoli, horseradish and radishes. They grow small pod-like fruits that look a bit like green beans, and inside each one, dozens of mustard seeds packed with sinigrin, a natural compound that gives mustard its bold, nose-tingling aroma, the one you instantly recognize the moment you pop open a jar. The production journey begins out in massive open fields, where those little seeds are sown into the soil. And even though mustard seeds are some of the tiniest out there, they pack serious power. Just under 2 pounds of seeds are enough to plant an entire pro baseball field, over 8,000 square feet. Each year, about 500,000 acres of farmland across the western provinces of Canada are dedicated to growing mustard. The star of the show, Sinapis alba, also known as white mustard. That's what gives us the bright yellow stuff we all know and love. There's also Brassica junce, or brown mustard, which brings a spicier kick and has more essential oils. In today's modern farming systems, mustard seeds and dry fertilizer are loaded into separate compartments of a trailer hitched to a tractor. From there, both the seeds and fertilizer are carefully measured out and carried by air through tubes down to the soil openers, where they're evenly planted into the ground. Since mustard seeds are super tiny, they need to be planted shallowly in firm soil to sprout properly. Just a few days after planting, the first green shoots start to emerge, and before long the entire field is covered in a blanket of fresh, vibrant green. By early July, the mustard plants begin to bloom, turning those wide open fields into a golden sea of yellow flowers. A sight that's both peaceful and absolutely stunning. A few weeks later, those flowers start developing into little pods filled with seeds as summer rolls on. The harvest usually winds down by early August, when the pods dry out and change color. It's a clear sign that it's time to harvest. The mustard plants are then cut and fed into these massive combine harvesters. Inside, the pods are separated and the seeds are carefully collected. The seeds get stored in a large bin right on top of the machine, while the leftover stems, shells and branches are shredded and scattered back onto the field. That leftover material will naturally break down and help nourish the soil for the next planting season. From there, the seeds are transferred to these large grain carts, and once they're full, they're hauled back to storage bins at the farm, all set to be sold to processing companies. After that, the seeds are shipped by train from Canada to mustard manufacturing plants in the United States. At these facilities, giant silos, some even bigger than a train car, hold the seeds as they wait to be processed. Each of those silos is packed with hundreds of thousands of pounds of mustard seeds. We're talking up to 200,000 pounds of the stuff used just for yellow mustard. And to put that into perspective, just one bottle of French's mustard, the brand we all know, takes more than 10 million mustard seeds to create that bold, tangy flavor everyone loves. Right then, before the real magic of mustard making begins, there's one absolutely crucial step: a deep clean. The seeds go through these high-tech vibrating screens that shake off any unwanted debris. Think dirt, rocks, and, well, random bits that have no place in your mustard. It's not just the first step, it's honestly one of the most important steps in the whole process. Next up, the clean mustard seeds are moved into giant soaking tanks for what's called the steeping stage. During this time, the seeds absorb water and begin to swell, making them easier to grind later on. But that's not all. Steeping for around 3 hours also activates an enzyme called myroinase. This enzyme is essentially the secret sauce behind mustard's signature kick, helping lock in the flavor and giving the final product a smooth, consistent texture. Once the seeds are properly soaked and softened, it's time to mix in a carefully curated blend of ingredients to dial up the flavor. White vinegar and turmeric are two of the stars. Turmeric's what gives yellow mustard that bold, unmistakable color. Then come the extras like paprika and salt, rounding out the taste with just the right balance of mild heat and savory depth. It's what makes every dip, drizzle, or dollop so irresistibly good. Unforgettable, this powdery mixture then moves into massive mixing tanks where water and vinegar are added with, well, incredible precision. The gold standard formula, it's around 60% water, 20% vinegar, 15% mustard seed, and 5% salt and spices. That perfect ratio is what gives yellow mustard its smooth texture, just right thickness, and bold, tangy flavor. Giant mixing paddles spin inside the tanks at speeds of up to 165 miles per hour for a full hour. This high-speed mixing ensures every ingredient blends together perfectly, creating a bold, flavorful, and totally uniform mustard base. Once the mixing is done, it's on to the next step. Grinding. This is where that signature smooth, creamy texture really comes to life. But when it comes to making great mustard, shortcuts just aren't an option. There are a few golden rules that absolutely have to be followed. And the biggest rule of all, never apply heat during the process. High temperatures can destroy the mustard seed's natural spicy flavor. That's why even today, traditional stone mills made from granite or flint are still used. These massive stones can last for decades, but they need to be regrooved 2 to 3 times a year to keep them in top shape. The grinding process works kind of like an old-school mortar and pestle. One heavy stone rotates and presses the mustard mixture against a fixed stone, slowly crushing the seeds without generating any heat. This slow, careful method keeps the flavor sharp, complex, and unmistakably mustardy. At modern facilities, using this time-tested technique, up to 170 tons of mustard can be ground every single day. That's enough to spice up millions of meals around the world. By this point, the mustard mixture is already pretty smooth, but it's still not quite up to the final gold standard texture. To get that perfect, silky finish, it goes through one last round of fine grinding, a final step that truly makes all the difference. This time, the mustard is pumped through a high-speed motor system, where specially designed blades spin rapidly yet incredibly steadily. And here's the genius part. Oh, you're going to love this. Even at those crazy speeds, the equipment is engineered to stay cool. No heat means the mustard keeps its bold kick and delicate flavor profile intact. This final grind is what gives mustard that ultra-smooth, velvety consistency we all know and love. Over 30 grinders run every single day, processing around 90 tons of mustard to create this legendary condiment. In fact, more than 100,000 gallons of mustard are produced every single day. Once the mustard reaches its peak, creaminess, it's transferred to stainless steel holding tanks for the next stage of refinement. Here, low-speed mixers gently stir the mixture to remove any trapped air bubbles. Why does that matter, you ask? Well, because leftover air can lead to oxidation, which turns mustard brown and dulls its flavor. The mustard is then left to rest for several days in a carefully controlled environment. During this time, the flavor and aroma mellow and mature, while the texture becomes even more consistent and stable. This is when the mustard ripens naturally, reaching its peak in both taste and mouthfeel. But even when it's ready, it doesn't hit store shelves just yet. Before any bottle goes out into the world, the mustard must first pass a series of strict lab tests, where its physical, chemical, and flavor profiles are all thoroughly inspected. Only after meeting the highest quality standards is the mustard finally approved and ready to make its way to kitchens. So, everywhere before mustard gets bottled up, it has to pass one final test called the smoothness check. It's, a crucial step to make sure the texture is absolutely perfect. During this phase, the mixture is carefully inspected to ensure there are no particles larger than 1/100th of an inch. If even a single grain is too big, the factory immediately adjusts the spacing between the grinding stones to refine the blend even further. Because, well, with mustard, every little detail counts, then it's off to. The filling line is where the bottling process really kicks into high gear. Over 300 bottles of mustard move down the line every single minute. Those classic bright yellow bottles start off completely empty, but in a flash they're filled and capped by an ultra-precise automated system. Each storage tank can hold around 100 bottles of mustard at a time, and with that kind of bottling speed, pallets fill up fast, sometimes in just a single shift. To make sure every bottle meets top-tier standards, a high-tech visual sensor system checks each one individually. From fill levels to caps to bottle shape, there's absolutely zero room for mistakes. The entire journey of making yellow mustard takes about 20 hours, with a good chunk of that time dedicated to the flavor-developing steeping stage. And even after it's bottled, the mustard's taste continues to mellow and settle in just right. In just one shift, a single worker can oversee the production of more than 112,000 bottles of mustard. Once every bottle passes inspection, these golden beauties are ready to hit the road, heading to grocery stores, dinner tables, and kitchens all over the world, bringing that bold, tangy flavor we all know and love. Mustard is one of those rare condiments that even the health-conscious crowd can enjoy without worrying. It packs a punch of bold, tangy flavor without adding practically any calories to your meal. It's virtually fat-free, and if there is any fat, it's just a tiny bit of oil, depending on the recipe used by the manufacturer. And the best part, it's completely cholesterol-free. Do you use mustard in your daily meals? Let us know what you think about its flavor down in the comments. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your fellow mustard lovers, and subscribe with the notification bell on so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.